guys, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles. And today is going to be a little bit different type video than what I normally do, and it's going to be kind of a little story time chat. But I think it's important. And this is aimed at, if you've been doing this for a while, this video is not really aimed at you, but I would love if you still watched it and just share the story with me. But if you're new to this and you're thinking about getting into breeding, this story is absolutely something I want you to hear. We've shown you a lot of different snakes, over the last year making these videos, but one thing we haven't really covered, and I've gone off a few times on a few little mini rants, is what it really takes to do this. Like, what it really takes to breed, and some of the ups and some of the downs. And one thing that I want to be with you guys more so than some other videos is not just show you the happy times, but show you what this is really all about. So today I want to tell you the story of my first clutch. And my first clutch came from this girl right here. She kind of looks like crap right now. She's in shed. But this is one of my first ball pythons. This is I bought a proven female when I was starting. When I decided I was going to breed, I already had several snakes, but I wanted to get a proven female. And the reason I wanted that was so if it didn't go well, I couldn't be like, well, it's because I didn't have a good female. I knew it was my fault if there was a problem, So I picked her up, paid dearly for her, a lot more than what you'd pay today for a proven pastel. But that's part of the snake business too. Everything went well. I bred her, and she ended up having this perfect clutch of, I believe it was 9 eggs. And I'll tell you, it was my first clutch. You open that and you look at that and you're so excited, and you've worked all this time, and at this point in time I'd put 2 years into setting all this up and getting it rolling, and I thought I was prepared. I had done all this research. But I didn't have the experience. I had experience keeping snakes. I've been keeping reptiles for, my entire life. But it's my first time breeding. So I have these 9 eggs. And camera guy Kurt he was still my best friend. So he was around all the time. But he hadn't signed on to do this yet with me. So he kind of followed the story a little bit, but not as close as myself and Question Girl did. But kind of what happened was, in my research, I found 2 different incubation methods. One being the substrateless, which we did a video on how to set up that I showed you, and the other one being using a substrate. And I decided to use a substrate that first clutch, and I bought a commercial product that was ready to go, and did the best I could, but I should have known better, because I know myself, and I am not a patient human being. So when the eggs collapsed a little bit, I read needed more moisture. That's what you found in the form. So I added some water. They didn't pop back. Next day I added some more water. Next day I added some more water. And I ended up, because of my human error, and I want to be clear on that, it's my human error, first time, lacking the experience, getting those eggs too moist. I wasn't putting water around the egg, just in the tub, but they absorbed it, and that clutch, 8 of those 9 eggs died. 8 of those 9 died right there. Within a couple weeks, they started going bad. But the one on top, it stayed good. And so here I am dealing with these nasty, moldy eggs. I couldn't separate them very easy, and I was afraid of ripping them. And the one on top stayed good. I wasn't 100% sure they were bad. I'm going to put her back in there because she's getting kind of restless. But so we go on for the entire time. And long story, not quite as long, I ended up getting to the point, cutting open those eggs. Because again, it was my first time seeing bad eggs. And of course, the ones I thought were bad were bad. And the one I thought was good, there was this little baby snake in there. It was awesome. Had a spider pattern to it. And I was excited, but I didn't see it move. So I waited a few days and it didn't crawl out. Waited a few days and it didn't crawl out. We hit like day 62, 63, and it hadn't come out. So you start poking with a Q-tip, no movement. So then you take, the cut scissors and drag it on the side, like a doctor would poke you in the toe to make sure you're going to have a reaction, or not to hurt it, no reaction. And what I ended up with was a dead baby in the egg that had gone almost full term and died. And then looking at it, it appeared something had ruptured on the inside, because you could see a spot when I did pull it out on the inside where something had bled internally. But the moral of this is I was crushed. I had put all this time into it, And I built up to this moment, and I failed. I literally failed miserably. I crashed and burned. And it was humbling, one. And two, it was very, very difficult to pick myself up and continue on because I was afraid of continuing to fail. You know, because you feel really responsible that those things that you're trying to bring in the world don't make it. And that's a heavy weight for me because I love animals so much. I was actually a question girl who kind of, you know, told me to buck up, Buttercup, and if I really love doing this, to suck it up, learn, and continue on. Which I did. And it was, but I tell you, it wasn't easy, you know, and you're going to have those losses as you do this. You're not going to have every egg make it. You're not going to have every clutch make it. But to have that first one like that, it broke my heart. You know, but then the next year, because we continued on, and the word of the day was perseverance. And you need perseverance if you're going to breed reptiles. That's the point I'm trying to make. The next year we bred that same pairing, and we hatched this out. The killer bee that I was chasing. And she's every bit of perfect. And we're actually breeding her this season now, you know. This will be the first snake that I hatched out that I get to breed. Right there she is. And when you look at that, for me, and you're probably looking at this going, well, it's killer bee, that's great. But for me, it represents so much more. This represents the first time that I knew I could do this. The first time that I knew I could be successful. That I knew that I wouldn't always fail. And the pride and joy that I have in this animal, and really all the animals that I make now, is immense. There's not many things in the world that I'm more proud of doing than when I make a beautiful animal and it stays in my home, or it goes to a really good home and people have a lot of joy from it and the animal has a good life. That's great for me. But if you don't have that perseverance, you're not going to make it through those low points. So you got to have that perseverance. You got to stay with it, but you also can't be stubborn, which is hard for me too. And when you make mistakes, you got to correct it. You got to figure out what you did to make it better, which is exactly why you see me using the substrateless, because that's the method that works best for me. And I figured out what went wrong, and I learned from my experience, and I found a better way to do things for me. And that's what I want to that's why I'm telling this story, is I don't want you to have a failure and quit. If you really want to do something like this, I want you to really follow through and have that perseverance and be willing to check yourself when it doesn't go right and admit when you're wrong. And that's hard. Guys, that sucks. But the rewards, like Electra here, are so worth it. They're so worth it. So I wouldn't trade those experiences for the world. And I'm glad Question Girl kicked me in the ass and made me keep going. She has no idea how thankful I am for that. But perseverance. And that's the whole point of today's episode, is it's just a little story about how we started. And there's a little spider wobble. And perseverance, so that you can make your dreams come true. It's pretty much true with any dream. Any dream, you're going to have that perseverance when it gets going tough. You can see that kooky spider wobble. She only has it when she's picked up. If she finds her cage, she'll do great. Whoop. Oh, now we're on the ground. Now we're good. The goofy snake. So persevere, guys. Persevere through the lows. Hopefully this video wasn't a downer. It's not meant to be, because look where it's grown. I mean, yeah, I tell a story that's kind of sad, but you fast forward, you know, three years, I think, from that point. Maybe 4, I'd have to look. And look where we are now. Now we've got 60 plus animals. We've taken over part of an actual brick and mortar store. We're successfully breeding. It's growing. I have to slow it down sometimes because it's growing so quick. I get to work with my best friend and camera guy Kurt, and I mean, damn, this is great, you know. But I wouldn't have any of it if I didn't stick through those valleys. So stick to what you do, and don't quit. That's my advice. Whether it's snakes or any dream you're chasing, you got to stick to it, guys. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll bring a little bit happier tone next week, maybe. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week.